Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to the Macro Lounge with our new backdrop today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you appreciate this wonderful new lighting background. I am, of course, your co-host, Chris Bowl, joined by the queen of all sparkles, Rachel Mee, all the way from Tauranga this morning. How are you, Rachel?
I'm very, very good. A bit tired after a long weekend doing some posing and doing the ICN coaches workshop. So
Excellent.
Been a very social weekend, and also just dealing with Chris.
Yeah, actually, to be fair, that's well. You did volunteer to go to the gym. I don't know how I got held responsible for that, but it was like, okay, fine. It was just like one of those things. You said yes, and I went, okay, let's go. So anyway, been a busy week. Where we would be remiss, of course, of not acknowledging the gossip or the news of the week in the world of physique and bodybuilding. Is of course the documentary released by Cam Boot from Ugly Face on the NZ Muscles scandal, I guess, for lack of better terms. We will actually post a link in this. As you know, we're big supporters of Ugly Face and what Cam does. We do want to acknowledge that what has been going on, and also one of the key things, as we brought up consistently on the podcast, is everybody's entitled to opinion about what's going on here. Everybody's entitled to their beliefs. But for the love of all money, please don't take it out on their sponsored athletes and their affiliate codes. Most of them didn't know what's going on. It's a very informative and deep and somewhat shocking expose that Cam's put together. But we advise you to go and have a look at it and let NZ Muscle know what you think. Would you agree with that, Rachel, then?
Yeah, 100%. I do think it will be, I think it's going to be a very good shake-up to the supplement industry in New Zealand. And I think it's a big call to have more transparency from a lot of the supplement retailers, because we all know the supplement industry just worldwide is not the most transparent. And New Zealand
That's a polite way of putting it.
New Zealand likes to be able to trust people. So I think it's going to be a very big shake up to the entire industry in New Zealand. And I know Cam has said that they have had a lot of the other retailers reach out, and they're all looking at a way to make things a bit more transparent for all the consumers. So I'm hoping that some good things come out of this. But yeah, it is obviously not great it's not a good look for NZ Muscle at this point. But yeah, don't take it out on the ambassadors and retailers. It's not their fault.
No. So I think interesting enough that potentially, you have the match checked tick and all that stuff. They maybe should have a Cam approved sticker that they could put on labels now. He could be like the new mascot for approved sales. Yeah. If they've got the Ugly Face one, they could turn that into a little sticker. Anyway, enough said on that. So today we're actually joined by Peter Morris. Peter has spent over 30 years behind the camera photographing competitors, transformations, everyday people for their, primarily as a physique photographer, but not physique in the way of bodybuilding as we think about it. So he's been around, no offense, Peter, but he's been around long enough to see the rise of social media and the explosion of smartphone photography and the evolution of bodybuilding, perhaps most interested in, how people see themselves. And so photography is a vehicle, right, Rich? So
yeah, and it's also a lot about like your confidence, your body image, and doing a photo shoot. It can be scary, especially if you've never done one before, or you haven't maybe competed before. It's your first time doing something like this. It can be quite scary to do. And I did a photo shoot with Peter back in 2021. He was actually the second photographer ever to do a photo shoot. That I did a photo shoot with, and the first one that I actually did solo, because my first one I had my partner with me. So it is also, I think the social side of photography is really important, because I've worked with about 6 or 7 photographers before, and it's really important, and Peter's very good at this, at making the model, whoever's doing the photo shoot, feel comfortable. It's almost like being a hairdresser, I guess. Like you've got to be able to have a conversation. You've got to be able to make them feel comfortable, especially when doing fitness style shoots. So that, the whole social side and the confidence side is really, really important. So that is something that we will dive into today with Peter himself. So welcome, Peter.
Hello, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for stepping outside your comfort zone and actually being in front of the camera for a change.
The camera, it's a little bit different. Yeah, for sure. I'm not used to that, but there's always a first, isn't there?
Have you appropriately lit yourself is probably the most important question.
I think I have. You tell me, you be the judge.
Of the three of us, I'm going to say best lighting goes to Peter.
Yeah, of the three of us, yeah. I did think about getting a soft box and stuff, just to show myself in the best light. Then I thought, it's really not going to help. So I like to say I've got a face for radio.
I've got a constant light going at the moment.
Oh, there you go.
So I've got a constant light going. That's very unusual, because I'm a flash photography, studio flash person. So all my photography is studio flash. It's like lightning. It goes, lights you up, and it's done and dusted within a fraction of a second. So Constant lights I don't usually work with, but yeah, today make an exception.
Excellent. So we had asked Peter earlier about what it's like photographing thousands of people has taught him about confidence and self-image. And one of the things that really stood out was, Peter, was your observation that people often underestimate themselves. You said they put the handbrakes on. Can you sort of elaborate a little bit on that, what you meant by that people put the handbrakes on themselves?
Yeah, sure. So I get a lot of inquiries from clients wanting to do a shoot. Sometimes it will take them a couple of years to actually make the booking and do the shoot. Sometimes it's very quickly. But a lot of people, women in particular, come through. They want to do the shoot. They're here, and it's all good. But I know they're leaving without doing or giving what they could have. They're just not letting themselves go. They're holding back. And that's what I call having the handbrake on, is when you just don't give in and don't leave nothing on the table. And that comes down to a confidence thing and a comparison thing. A lot of women compare with other images they've seen or their friends. Like they're all thinking photos aren't for them, they're for somebody else. And they come over for a shoot with that in mind. And if you've got that mindset that you don't belong somewhere, then you end up not belonging there, if that makes sense. And it's the same for the bodybuilding stage as well, competitive bodybuilding. If you don't think you belong on stage, and it's going to come through and show. Same thing, leaving that handbrake on. Yeah, don't do it. Just let go.
Do you think the growth of social media and the comparisons that way, has that made that more prevalent? Is it happening more frequently for you that people are coming in because of that? Do they feel that, they're so often comparing themselves on social media now?
So it's a combination of things. With social media, I do get more inquiries because people see what I do and they like it and they want the same. But at the same time, they're still comparing and still telling themselves, I'm not for that, it's for somebody else, so I'll just leave it and let it be. And it's not till they've been here and done a shoot, and then they realise, wow, what was I thinking? Why have I not been here sooner? And social media has been like that. In the old days, back in the film days, which is when I first started shooting, it was all just prints. You take the photos, get them printed, give them to the client, see you later. No one saw those photos except for anyone that they showed them to. They didn't go anywhere. They might go up on their wall, or in an album, but
I
they
know.
weren't sprayed all over the place for the whole world to see. Mhm.
I know. I used to have the little what is it? The film tape things, the brown. What are they called?
Film?
Like the Kodak, yeah.
Film.
Back in the well, I mean, I thought there was a professional name for it. I don't know.
Yeah, film.
Okay, okay. No, I'm not that young. Come on,
Rachel's
I was
completely
around.
kidding.
No, I was
Can
around.
Yeah, she would. I just like to give her grief because
I'm a baby
she's of
apparently.
that era. Yeah, it's like digital. What's that? So, do you think that, as you said, they often sometimes they're putting that brake on themselves? Can you tell immediately when somebody feels that they don't believe in themselves or belong when they come in for a photo shoot, or is it something that sort of do you get
Not
that
straight
impression?
away, 'cause yeah, not straight away because that person's a complete stranger to me. I've had a bit of chat through an email or online, but apart from that, I don't know anything about them. So it takes me for a while. Each client who comes through, I have to learn them. I have to learn about them, what makes them tick, what their likes are, what their dislikes are, what makes them comfortable, what makes them uncomfortable, and that takes a bit of learning. That happens throughout the process, throughout the shoot.
Mm.
It's a particular process, and I have to learn about them because it's really, really important that by the time they leave the studio, they have what they want and not what I think they should have, because they're two different things. If you're going to come and do a shoot and I'm going to give you what I think you should have, then it's not going to work because that's just not how it should be. And unfortunately, that's how a lot of the times it is with some people. But I've got to learn the person, direct them, shoot them. Then as the shoot progresses, you soon learn whether they've got anything else to give, or whether they're leaving something on the table, or they're just not backing themselves, they're doubting themselves.
Because yeah, that's interesting because that's something quite similar to what I do in my consults for bikinis. Is as I'm talking to someone, I'm kind of studying what type of person they are, so I know for their bikini, what do they want something that's going to be a bit more out there? Are they a little bit more reserved, like different colors, like all that kind of thing, different styles to that personality? Do you find that when you're doing that, do you have a couple like I mean, I have a couple of different, I guess, boxes kind of that I will kind of be like, oh, this is this type of person. Do you have that in your brain sometimes that you're kind of like when you're talking to someone, you're identifying them, you're like, okay, we're gonna steer it to what this is, this kind of personality?
Subconsciously, yes. I don't know about consciously though. I suppose a little bit conscious, yes. but definitely subconsciously. When you're shooting someone, sometimes you lose all sight of distractions and what's going on around you, and the shoot just flows. So I just kind of automatically move in the direction I think we should be going, or they want to go in. I don't know if I actually consciously do it, but it just happens. I suppose that comes from years and years of photographing people. You
It's
know
just
what the
automatic.
next phase is. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So I am aware of it, but not consciously. It's all automatic.
Yeah.
And we sit down and chat occasionally and run through the photos, and I get their feedback. I ask them a million questions: what they like, what they don't like, what lighting style preferable, and I just take on board what they say and carry on and do some more.
I imagine there's a fair amount of almost pre-work where, like as you said, you don't know this person when they come in. It's similar in, say, the world of coaching, where I generally don't know
Mm.
the athlete from Adam, so to speak. And I'm a big believer in saying this is your journey, not mine, and my job is to help you get to the finish line. So I imagine photography is somewhat similar. It's like, how do you, because obviously you have a constrained amount of time when you're doing a shoot. Is there a reasonable amount of background work that they sort of have, the model, for lack of a better term, has to do to prepare for the shoot, or do you just sort of like got a basic idea of what they want to do?
Well, I let them prepare how they want to, but they can ask me for advice. Should I get a tan or not is a good one. But for me, I always ask them to send through some inspiration. I mean, literally send me photos. Doesn't have to be my own work. It can be another photographer's work, whatever. Send through a good dozen photos of what they want, something that describes their comfort level. That's very important.
I'd just send you
And
a
the kind
blank
of
screen if
outfit.
it was me.
Well,
Well, you're
some
like,
people do
it'd
send
be me
nothing.
not in it.
Well, some people do not send some ideas, and they're the hardest shoots because you've got the stranger rolling up and they're going to be feeling vulnerable. I don't know who they are or what their comfort level is, and we're supposed to create something together, and the starting point is just awkward. There's been no conversation beforehand, and there's nothing to go by. Whereas if someone sent through all their ideas, we don't do them literally, but it gives me an idea of what appeals to them. You know, do they want full-length poses? So do they want to incorporate any props? Weights or whatever? Do they like dark, moody lighting? Do they like light and bright lighting? And I actually, this is a bit old school, but I print them off and I have them on hand throughout the whole shoot. And we sit down and we go through them. We tick them off as we go, um, and go from there. And that's just a starting point because the photos or the shoot evolves from that. Once you've got a starting point, it's a bit like going on a road trip. You're starting here and you want to go to here, but you go down this back road here, then take this detour here, then up this hill and down there. You know what I mean? You go on a bit of a road trip, and then you finally get to where you want to go.
I
That
have that a
sounds
lot
like a
with
Yeah.
weekly
colors.
sounds like our weekly conversation with Rachel and I. Say we start off over here and we're, I don't know where
Yeah.
we end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find that, so I know I have this a little bit with colors, that when people are sending me inspo photos, that sometimes people send you the photos and then they arrive and what they sent you actually is nothing even close to what they want. Have you ever had that before? Or is it
Yeah, that
usually
does happen.
pretty?
Yeah, so I'm not a stylist, so I don't get too into colours. It's more whether they want a bodysuit or gym wear, active wear, or lingerie, because I do lingerie-based shoots as
Yeah.
well. I have some people send through their 10 or 12 ideas, and I've got my head in a certain place of what we're going to do, and then they turn up with absolutely no wardrobe at all, and they just flip the shoot on its head, like, and they're like, look, it's my 40th birthday next month. I want to do this. This is for me. Yeah, the shoot just takes a totally different direction altogether. So just got to roll with it, just treat it for what it is, and go from there.
Just this, yeah.
Th-
Little
think on your
U-turn.
toes. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you too.
Yeah,
And
that's
in
okay.
fairness, the shoots do divert and go off on a tangent quite a lot anyway, because you've got a client come into a strange environment to shoot with a stranger. They don't know how it's going to go, but halfway through the shoot, they're just really relaxed. They're really confident. They're really amped, and then they're just like, "Hey, Peter, let's just mix this up and change it up a bit and do some more. You know, blah 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 blah. Let's do this. Let's do that." And yeah, that's what we do. And by the time they leave, their favourite photos are the ones that weren't even on their list of inspiration to start with. They're totally different.
I'm just picturing a certain one of our team members in a photo shoot. I think it would be hilarious to watch. I don't even think I need to name her. I think Rachel can figure out.
There's a couple of options.
Yep. Either of them would actually work. It would be hilarious. It'd be literally like throwing a wolf into the lion. You know, have fun, bye, and just leave you there. That would be great. One of the things I asked Peter about earlier was his, because your original career wasn't as a photographer, correct, Peter? Your original profession was definitely not behind the camera. You started off, was it in, sorry, I forgot to write it down what it was, but you had a different career before you got into photography.
Correct. I left school at the age of maybe 17 and did an apprenticeship as a mechanic. And that's what I was doing full time up until a few years ago when I had trouble juggling both, doing the mechanicking and the photography. I went through a phase where I had clients wanting to do weekday shoots and I was at work. So I actually trained my wife up into taking photos. That's why we have a studio each now, because we're both full-time photographers. We shoot in our own separate studios. But I
So you
made the
don't need to
transition
share
from full-time mechanic. Sorry?
I said, Rachel and Ed, they both work from home as well. I said, you don't need to share the space. Just you each have your own.
That's what we've got too. Yeah, he's got his office, I've got mine, and then it's just like occasionally check in. Oh, is it lunchtime?
We have our separate studios, our separate offices, almost separate everything. For work, we basically live upstairs and work downstairs. We're lucky to have a big house we can do that in. Yeah. But yeah, I did start life as a mechanic and slowly transitioned from the full-time job into part-time mechanic, part-time photographer, then from giving up mechanicking to full-time photographer. And that's how it's been for, I don't know how many years now. I don't know, over 10 years.
So what got you started in doing photography? Because that's a little bit of a change. Most mechanics they don't usually go into photography. It's a little bit of a different realm. My dad is a mechanic, and I don't think I can't see him using a camera. He's not good at it.
Well, it started off very young as a kid. Both my parents had cameras, or we had a family with a couple of cameras within the household, which was quite rare back then. Some families had one camera, some had none. So it started off as a hobby as a kid, and my parents would pay for my film that I used. They'd pay for the processing and the printing, and I get the photos back, and they would usually be a bit shit, but I learned from everything I did. Then going into a young adult, getting married with my own house, my daughters were going to school, primary school, and there was a kid at that school who had a mum. I'll tell you her name. You can cut it out later if you want to. I don't know. Just living up the road from us was a lady called Jo Stewart.
Oh, yeah.
And she was a world champion bodybuilder way back then. And I hooked up with her. So she would have been my first introduction to bodybuilding and physique photography.
Not a bad introduction.
It wasn't, and I was quite spoiled because you just can't go wrong. Like I was doing my lighting, she already knew her posing and her angles and everything else. Those shoots were very successful, and then that led me into her client base as well, and the friends of her client base, and it just took off from there. I was the next thing shooting at the gyms that they trained at, in my studio as well, pre-comp, post-comp, and I very quickly learned that if you want to make money from photography, you should be shooting people because people pay for photography. I've tried landscapes, I've tried product photography, and I've made money from all of it. But now I just niche down to people, and that's it. And not families, not children, just adults, individuals.
No children or animals. So Sanji's out. Sorry, Rachel.
Damn it. No cat photo shoot. Yeah. Come on, he would be a great model.
Actually, he would be he's kind of muscular too, so no,
he is. He's a bodybuilding cat. Chris has accused my cat of being on roids.
I don't accuse him. I stated it. He's huge.
It's because he's a Maine Coon. He's got genetics. Anyway, actually, just a little question that I think a lot of people will be interested in with bodybuilding photo shoots. One of the big questions that a lot of us bodybuilders have is, do we do the photo shoot before the show or do we do the photo shoot after the show? And you've probably had people who've done both. I mean, I'm not going to say should you do it, but what's your experience with people who have done before versus people who have done with after? What's your thoughts on the difference between the two?
Okay, so there's two things happening here. I'll start with the photographer, me. Most people want to shoot on the Sunday after the show, and that's fine, but I can only shoot one or two people on that Sunday. So it comes down to a time thing in my schedule. If you want to shoot on a Sunday, you've got to get in real early. Otherwise, you're shooting on Monday or Tuesday or the Friday before. Now, you can do either shoot before the comp or after the comp. After the comp, you're going to be in your best condition. So far as leanness and vascularity goes, you do have to stick to your diet religiously. You have to. If you don't, you're never going to look as good as you could. And some people tend to bloat after their comp. Their abs are gone and they're quite bloated in the tummy. So post-comp is best, but you've got to stick to your diet, okay? Once you go further than that, you start to lose your tan goes all flaky and cracks up, and your conditioning becomes even less. Pre-comp is good, but you are going to come across a little bit softer, not as much vascularity, if that's what you're looking for, a little bit less definition, but you will be maybe looking a bit better in your face, because post-comp or comp day, you're going to be very gaunt, very chiseled, and that's a good look, and that's what everyone's striving for on the day of the competition. But in time to come, it's not necessarily what you're looking for in your photos, if that makes sense. It's not unusual for someone to show someone their photos and they're like, is that you? Oh my God, what's wrong with you? It's like, oh, that's me after my comp. It's like, oh, really? Is that how it works? Like, yeah. So pre-comp, a bit softer, less vascularity, less muscularity. Post-comp, a bit gaunt and maybe bloated,
Do you find there's
depending.
a difference in, I guess, the attitude of the competitors, like pre versus post comp? Like, because, I mean, post comp, you've probably got a 50-50 chance of they either feel terrible or they are feeling absolutely great. Because some competitors are like, yes, I look better the day after the show. So you've probably got a 50-50 coin flip on that one. But do you find that potentially there's a difference in maybe placings can sometimes affect those photo shoots?
Yes, pretty quick in that one.
Sorry, I'm just firing questions that I've got in my brain. I know these weren't planned.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
looking at
So
this, at
some
this the
people,
plan going, yeah, get rid of that.
and some people, attitude is everything. They can come anytime they want to, and they're going to turn it into a great shoot. It can be pre-comp, it can be post-comp. Post-comp, so pre-comp, some people can still be tired, totally drained, to the point where they don't want to even lift 4 kgs or 6 kgs dumbbells. They're like, nah, can't do it. Post-comp, yeah, they could be on a downer if they haven't placed as well as they thought, which is very, very, very common because most people do not place as well as they think they should have, and that's a whole nother conversation. Um, but you've got to turn it around and make it positive and put a positive spin on it and say, hey, it's not all about the comp, it's about you, it's about how you look today, not how you look yesterday, not how you're going to look next week, and it's not about your result, it's about who you are and who you want to be. So you've got to turn it around if they're on a bit of a downer. If they've placed well and they're really happy and they're amped, then no worries. It's a different conversation again. They'll put out all their medals and show them off. Yeah, so different strokes for different folks, I suppose you could say.
That's probably quite cool as a photographer as well to be able to, I guess, have that if they're on a downer after the show and be able to help empower them to feel better about their physique. So that's probably quite a cool thing for you, like when you're able to do that, make them
Uh,
feel good.
yeah,
Hopefully, sometimes probably
you
people
might
aren't
use.
allowing it, but so there would be definitely times I'm assuming where it has happened. Like it depends on the attitude a little bit, but.
Hmm.
Yeah, I do spend a lot of time playing the counselor role. It's not all about photography and physique. It's about just sometimes just sitting down and chatting and finding out what's going on and just getting in their head, trying to change their
It's
perception of themselves and maybe of their competition. Especially if it's, say, your second or third comp that you've done and you were given feedback at your last comp and you worked on that and you did it religiously and you've gone into your next comp, but nothing changed or the result didn't change or went backwards. So that can be quite difficult dealing with that. Not for me, but for them. But I've just got to tell them that's how it is. Different judges sometimes, different criteria. It's all how things are perceived. And yeah, you just can't take it on board too personally, although I know that's what they are doing.
yeah.
So yeah, counselor role kicks in then. Yeah, then the photographer role comes
Yeah.
second.
That's actually something that one of the things you brought up when we were talking last week, Peter, was like you said, you actually went through things like you transition from work from the mechanics role into photography role, and you talked about trying to get that work-life balance. But you said something that you sort of touched on now, which was a bit unexpected. You said sometimes the shoot takes a second seat to the conversation.
Mm.
Is that something that frequently happens, or how does that come about, and how do you address that? As you said, going from the photographer to the therapist role almost.
It's something I deal with quite well, I think. I think you've got to have a certain amount of empathy. I can be empathetic. Some people will say, nah, that's not Peter at all. But it's different when it's one-on-one and there's only two of you in the room and you're kind of trying to set a mood or change the mood, I suppose, and get some flow back into the shoot. Because you are on a schedule, you can't spend all day doing a photo shoot, and the client certainly doesn't have the energy to do shooting all day. They're already spent. They were spent the day before, and they've got up possibly feeling terrible with a headache, a migraine, or whatever. And so you do have to do the talk. But at some stage, you've got to pick that camera up again and get on and do the shoot, get it done, and get the result as well. So that's where a bit of automation comes in your workflow and your recipe. I think if you're doing this full time, you've got to have a recipe that works, that people want and come for, and that's what's got to happen. I can probably do a lot of shoots in 10 minutes if I had to. And I say that to people when they come over for a shoot. I said, hey, have you got a hero shot in mind? If I said to you right now, something's come up and I've got to leave, have you got a hero shot? And I can get that shot in 10 minutes easily, whatever it is, doesn't matter what it is. I can get that shot. And so that's what we're kind of working towards, is that hero shot, and all the rest of it is just a bonus. So I've kind of forgotten the question now about picking the shoot up when it's not quite going right. Yeah, it happens.
You did mention a competitor crying on the studio floor after a competition, so that kind of sort of segues into that quite.
Yeah. So I have had that where a competitor was just literally just in a heap on her hands and knees crying on the floor of the studio. I've never met her before. It's the first time. She'd never been to my space or my studio. She'd done her comp, but she was just well spent. Like, she was gone, just no energy, emotional, just nothing. But we turned that around, you know. I don't think I've ever sent anyone home without doing photos. That's pretty bad, but I don't think it's ever happened. But that would have been the closest, I suppose. You just got to turn it around. And she did. We did together. It was quite a rewarding shoot in the end, and she got some really nice photos from it. So, yeah, that does happen. And that's the extreme. You got all the in-between, you know, from that extreme as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I can imagine that you're going to get both ends of the spectrum. The ones that are just absolutely emotionally spent, and then you got the other ones that are just, I don't know, got the ego that their body can't cash the check type thing, and you're just like.
Actually, do you find? Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, do you find there's a difference in photographing, say, like females versus males, like with confidence? I mean, we might be stereotyping here. I don't know, or is it pretty like even, or is there like maybe one more confident than the other? I don't know. Is there a difference of how you interact?
So I think mostly women, and that's not unusual or on purpose. It's just how it is. Women are actually the most photographed subject in the world. There's nothing photographed more than women. It's just how it is. There is a difference between guys and women. Women will bring over like a carry case, like a luggage case, a suitcase full of outfits, and we go through those. And they don't know what to wear. They don't know what they look good in. And should I wear this? Should I wear that? Should I wear blue? Should I wear green? Should I wear heels? No heels. The guy will arrive in just his shorts and a singlet, and that's his shoot. That's what he's going to shoot in.
This does not surprise us at all.
I literally was just thinking, I'm pretty sure you described exactly what I did when it came to you. So I remember coming with my bag, all my stuff out, and I'm like, I don't know which outfits to wear.
He's just described backstage in every single bodybuilding show. You look over and all the girls are there with not their carry-on suitcase, their full-size suitcase with all their stuff. And the guys have
a pair of trunks. And they're just a little
and pillow. And that's about the size of it. They're like, I'm good. Probably brought the shot with a photo.
No, but yeah, that's exactly
what I did. A lot of guys just want to leave it on the stage, and that's it. They don't want to do a photo shoot. There's guys who will never ever do a photo shoot ever. They just want to leave it on the stage. That's it. That's where it belongs. Women are different. They just want to do a photo shoot whenever they can, wherever they can. Sometimes, not always. But yeah, they come. They're focused on what they want. It's just the one outfit usually. Maybe it's like singlet or no singlet. It's like, okay, whatever. We'll do both. Some guys a little bit more vain, or what's that word, which I can't think of right now. They want to bling it up a bit with watches and jewelry, gold necklaces, and all that kind of thing. Occasionally, but not very often. And sometimes it's all about the shoes. Guys are really into their shoes.
They're into their shoes.
Trainers, and so I do get a bit of that as well. But yeah, guys, you just do. Guys, very easy. Confidence levels usually pretty high, usually pretty good. Yeah, women a little bit more time consuming, I suppose you'd say.
Yeah, no, I think even the fact that less men do photo shoots and more women do it, that also I think says something just in general, just the booking part. Because I do think for women, sometimes we kind of almost get told that if we are doing things like that it's too much, telling people to look at us and it's too much. So definitely it can affect the confidence levels a little bit, because then if you go to do a photo shoot, it can be hard with just, I guess, society. But no, definitely, it's quite cool though, like just hearing the difference and stuff. But I know that Peter has like a little dressing room, and it's got a little mirror in
room. Yeah, very important.
Yeah, so you can get dressed, do your makeup, check things, which is really cool. And then I do remember there all the different backdrops and stuff. Your studio was cool. your studio is really cool.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I go to a lot of trouble to keep it in, I don't know, in something. Change it up a little bit from time to time. But yeah, you don't want to leave with all the same photos. It's good to like mix it up a little bit, add a bit of a textured background or a dark background or light and bright, whatever takes your fancy. So yeah,
And
don't want to be a one-trick pony.
Actually, that brings us back onto plan. One of the things I asked you about anyway, was how your photography and creativity had changed over the years, and you sort of talked a little bit about you used to have more freedom, more time, and fewer pressures. And one of the things that stuck with me that you said was that the climb is definitely the best part. Can you sort of elaborate a little bit more on that, about what you mean?
Well, the climb is when obviously it's the same for bodybuilding as well, and lots of other things, lots of other hobbies. But when you're at the bottom and you're trying to work up, you've got this like learning curve starting here, trying to get to here, and it's that bit, the learning curve, that's the best. Once you've got to here and the learning's stopped, and it's just doing, and what you're doing is just the same old over and over. It's like flipping burgers. And I actually quite often describe myself as a McDonald's photographer. That's all I'm doing is flipping burgers. I have clients come in and say, I'll just have what she had, thank you. And it's like, okay. So in the climb, well, I was a mechanic, so I had a day job. I also had a studio at home, which I could trash to any extent I wanted to because I didn't have to shoot again that same day or the next day or that week. I had days and weeks to clean up a trash studio, and I had days and weeks to build it. And when I say build it, I mean put a set together or add or make props to do a creative shoot. I might have a particular idea of someone that we would do, and we could spend days planning that. I could spend weeks just getting it ready, prepared, and sorted, and then do the shoot. Then go back to work, my day job, then come home and tidy it up. But now that I'm shooting every day, multiple times a day, the studio has to be in a reasonably state of cleanliness and readiness for the next client, really. So I don't really have the possibility of trashing it completely to a point where I can't use it anymore, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, from memory, like you've got a really cool setup where it's very easy for you to change things over. So I think I remember some kind of wheelie wall that you can put in, and then you can flip it to the other side, and there's a different textured wall on the other side. So you've definitely worked really hard to organize your studio to be able to change those setups very easily and very quickly without causing any trashing of the studio.
Yes, I've got backgrounds there on wheels there. That's basically panels. I don't know what the technical name for them is. We have this stupid, ridiculous name me and my wife call them, which is doopers. I don't know where that comes from. But they're just like panels on wheels, on casters, double-sided. They're quite common now. When we made them, there wasn't anything like that around. But yeah, there's lots of content spaces around with them now. You see them every day. Just flip them around. You've got a textured black wall on one side or a textured white wall on the other side. But we have multiples of them, so we can go to this texture over here. I'm just looking at some in the studio now. It's like there's three. One's got a concrete clay brick wall. One's got louvers. One's got a black texture. And you can be in your outfit. I can photograph you against a plain white background, and we can flip it around to black straight away, just like that. Bang. And next thing you know, you've got a really dark, moody, mysterious photo going on. Yeah, so multiple times over.
After 30 years of flipping backdrops, or whatever it was you and your wife call them, how do you keep the creativity going after doing this for 30 years?
Well, it's funny you can say that because I've been out in my studio this morning trashing it even more. I'm trying to give myself some more headspace so I can have the lights up higher because we did chat about gyms briefly the other day, and gyms nowadays are really fitted out really well with good lighting, and gyms generally have high ceilings, which is desirable. In our studios, we just have standard residential height ceilings, which is a little bit low, but we work with it. But I'm just working on increasing that in my studio this morning and again this afternoon.
So
but
what you're saying is you punched a hole in the roof, didn't you?
No, I'd
Did
already
you tell
done
your
that
wife
before.
you were doing? Oh, okay, good. Just check.
I know we've had a big discussion about what I'm doing. It's very borderline sensible or non-sensible, unsensible. Yeah, but we'll talk about it another time. I think we're talking about this.
That's all right.
Just to get extra light, high light in the ceiling. It may or may not include some structural changes to the roof, but anyway, yeah.
We make no confirmations, but could be anywhere. We don't know where it is. It could be in a industrial building. We don't know.
Yeah.
Ask no tales, tell no lies.
We are knocking a roof somewhere.
Yeah.
So, do you find that, do you still have time to get creative with some of the shoots? Because obviously people come in with kind of like more or less what they want, but sometimes you probably would have an idea pop into your head after just seeing something. Do you still have time to get creative with some of those ideas?
The answer is yes, because you know how I ask people about their dream photo or their hero
Hmm.
shot when they first arrive, and we've had this pre-discussion beforehand about what they want to do, and I could get their hero shot within 10 minutes. So if they're here for a 2 hour shoot and I've got their shot within 10 minutes, then that leaves another hour and a bit to do
Get
other
creative.
stuff, and we do sometimes. Yeah, so some people are so easy and so are just so fluid in what they do, and it just stuff just happens. Because I do have lots of stuff in my studio. A lot of it doesn't go used very often, but if you've got the right person with the right attitude, you can just get on and do it and have an awesome shoot. Yeah, and that does happen, and that's what I like, because what happens is they end up seeing another side of themselves they haven't seen before, either through lighting or whatever. Because I do have some pretty radical, edgy lighting going on if I want to. And they leave with a bunch of photos that they never thought they'd ever have. And bang, next thing you know, you're photographing their friend or whatever. It's just, yeah, amazing. So the answer is yes, I do get that opportunity with the right person at the right time.
One of the things I asked you was what people are really looking for when they book a shoot, because I was kind of expecting, sort of where they're coming from when they book a shoot. So I was kind of expecting like a lot of like pre-comp stuff, transformation stuff, bridal lingerie. One of the things you mentioned that they predominantly, that they're quite often coming through, the reason for their shoot is not that. It's more based around trauma, surgery, milestones, confidence and celebration, as opposed to just a physical side. So with that in mind, like as you said, when you started off, say, photographing Joe way back in the day, what have you learned about people, what they're looking for from a photo shoot, going from that to, a world champion bodybuilder to somebody dealing with trauma is quite a big step.
Yeah, um, all of that is true, and can be a difficult one because a lot of people don't tell you about their particular reason for shooting until they're here in front of you, and then you realize that they may have previously been anorexic, um, or have survived an almost unsurvivable car crash, or there's so many different things, and some stuff I'm just gobsmacked by. I'm like, wow, my mind is blown, and I actually to the point don't know how to take the photos anymore because I'm just so far emotionally removed from the camera, just from their story. It's like just mind blowing, and that can be, yeah, like I said, anything from near-death experiences, serious health issues. I do quite a few breast cancer people. I shouldn't talk like that, but occasionally I'll get a message from someone and I'll be like, "Hey Peter, I've got a request. I've just been diagnosed with breast cancer. Having a mastectomy next week. Can you do a photo shoot for me?" And it's like, obviously I want to say yes, but my schedule says no, and I'm really torn between postponing someone else's shoot or trying to put someone off so I can fit them in, because it's a once and you can't repeat the photo. It's a bit like a wedding photo. You can't do it again. You can't say, "Oh, come and see me again in a month when I've got some spare time." You can't
Well,
do that. It's either got to happen.
But yeah, no, it would be definitely quite difficult with some of those people because, like, yeah, like in that case, it's like you know that it's really important to them as well, and it is quite emotional, and it's not like it's not a self-imposed deadline. It's something that's been given to them.
Exactly. The whole reason is not. It's not. The reason was given to them, was handed to them. They didn't ask for it or want it. It's just how it is. That's their life, and they just want to record that somehow for the future. You know what I mean? Yeah, I can't think of. Just talking about it, I can see I'm lost for words. It's like I've got so many scenarios going on in my head, and I'm making particular reference in my head to particular clients whose stories I've heard, and yeah, it's a tricky one to talk about, to be honest.
has photography essentially, I don't know, has it become more emotional for you over the years, as maybe not just, as you mentioned earlier, say post COVID, there's a bit of a switch from just, almost pure athlete type photos into the more, as you said, dealing with traumas and surgeries and life milestones. Has it become more of an emotional journey for you working with different subjects than when you initially started out?
I don't know. Those people have always been there. It's always been a part of what I do, but I suppose it's more so in recent times because A, I'm shooting full time, not part time, and B, people are starting to find ways of releasing this trauma or dealing with it instead of keeping it to themselves and bottling it up, if that makes sense. And for some people, a photo shoot is that. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work, but they at least want to give it a go, and quite often it does work. It's just like some people use the gym to kind of not hide from their situation, but to distract from it, if that makes sense. Everyone has distractions from what is going on in their mind. And photo shoot sometimes is just another one of those. But for some people with serious health issues, it might be their last photo shoot, or it might be the last photo shoot that they know themselves as they are now, if that makes sense.
Do you get many photo shoots where people are almost, I guess, in a similar situation, but they use it to like potentially like post-surgery or anything as more of an empowering, I guess, shoot rather than commemorative, if that makes sense? I guess like as an example, I mean, I'm not obviously as dramatic, but I know when I did one of my shoots with you, I remember I had the chains, and for me, I was kind of like, this for me is a little bit of symbolism of like, I guess, being held down, being held back, and just being, I guess, changed down. So do you ever get people who are like, I'm going to do like these kind of photo shoots with some of the symbolism and I'm going to use it as empowerment of like, hey, I'm actually kind of breaking free kind of situation?
Yeah, so definitely. And that's interesting you should say that, because I get a lot of that. And sometimes people want to bring their own props, specific props to them, and it could be the ashes of a family member or something not quite so dramatic. But it does seem to be a thing these days where people will bring something personal to them, or with something with some meaning, and that becomes the focus of the shoot. And once again, they don't necessarily know what that is until they're here, and they get a grip of what's happening and what's going on, and how they can turn it into something they want for themselves.
Yes. Yeah, that can be the learning experience for both the person getting the photos taken and for yourself can be quite profound. One of the conversations we had, Peter, was around body image and aging. That the conversation we should be having. And you said one of the things people frequently say to you is, "I'll do a shoot once I've lost 10 kilos," which is relatively common. I mean, I get that a lot in coaching. They go, "Yeah, I'll sign up for a photo shoot when I'm X." But I thought your response was quite interesting. You said, "Great. How much younger will you be then?"
Yeah, I say it all the time. Oh, it's true. Well, sorry, go on, Chris.
No, go ahead. Yep. So how much younger will you
I'm
be?
pushing 60. Yeah, I'm pushing 60 now. I don't know what I can do now compared to what I used to be able to do when I was younger. And it's the same for photos. Yeah, people, I don't know if they're making excuses, but it's like, yeah, I'll book a shoot when I've lost 10 kgs or 15 kgs, and yeah, I'll come and see you then. I just automatically say to them, well, how much younger will you be by then? How more aged will you look? I don't say that bit, but people do age, they do get stiff, they get sore, and you just really, that's almost the same thing as having the handbrake on. You're not giving yourself what you deserve. You deserve more than that, and there's no better time to shoot now. If you want to do another shoot again, when you've lost that 10 kgs or 15 kgs, then fine. And bodybuilding is exactly that. I'll shoot people every year or every couple of years, and I'm just documenting their phases they go through and their journey. It's like Rachel said right at the start about her photos, like how she was teeny tiny way back then. It's like she's a different person now to what she was back then. But you've got to have those photos to document what you were to see where you are now, if that makes sense. So you shouldn't put it off. Don't procrastinate and say, oh, I'll wait till I've lost 10 kgs or 15 kgs or whatever, because you never know what's ahead of you. Just do it now while you can, while you're young, while you're fit. And if you want to do it again in the future, then fine, do a repeat. But yeah, too many people fob it off for too long.
It's awesome to see the progress. Like looking at those photos, even though I was very, very small back then, like I could have said, "Oh, I'll wait till I have more muscle to do a photo shoot." But it's really cool to look back at those photos and just look at how far I've come. So that's another side to that. So even if people are saying, "Oh, I'll wait till I lose 10 kgs," well, then you can look at how far you've come if you do the photo shoot first.
Do you think too many people are waiting for that perfection? They're like, I'll wait until this is like, as you said, like if it's a physique competitor, they're like, I don't want to get it done now because I'm fluffy, and I'll wait until but that perfection may never come, right?
The answer is yes. And I had a client very recently. So lots of clients will go on a mini cut or shred, whether it be for their wedding or or for the photo shoot. Sometimes the photo shoot is the factor they're dieting for. And she actually made it to the shoot, which is really good. But she got here and she said, "Oh, I didn't really reach the point I wanted to. I'm not in the condition I wanted to be in for the shoot. But hey, let's just do the shoot anyway," which is good. She did it and it was great shoot, great photos. But a lot of people, and the majority of people who are doing that kind of weight loss thing or waiting for their body to be toned and more muscular or shredded, it doesn't often happen, and they will bail on a shoot and not go through with it. So if a client approaches me about doing a weight loss challenge, I will get payment off them in full up front, and that is now their inspiration or their motivation to do the shoot is their money. But there's got to be something in it for them, a loss.
Yeah.
You know? There's got to be
Yeah.
some sort of penalty if you don't follow it through. Because if it's not there, they just don't either get there or they don't get as far as they want to. They feel like they don't look as good as they want to, and it's like, so yeah, it happens a lot, a huge amount.
I can imagine. I frequently tell people that if they're not competing in, say, a photo shoot, particularly for the females that I work with, it's a really good goal to set because it's for you and you can choose to display that to whoever you want. But I frequently tell them to book the photo shoot and pay for the photo shoot so that they are locked into a date, because it's very easy to say, "Oh, I'll do a photo shoot in December," and then get to November and say, "Well, I actually lost 3 kilos and I wanted to lose 33. But if they've got that crap, and like it's the same with a bodybuilding competition, it's on, July the 18th, or your wedding's on October the 1st or October the 5th. I better get that date right, I'll get in trouble. It's locked in, and there's a penalty if you miss those things. So I think, the locking in the photo shoot and paying for it, and so you've got that date on your calendar. That's like, so that goal is there. I think that's a really healthy way to keep yourself accountable.
Definitely. And you touched on something else there as well with bodybuilding competitors. I get bookings ahead of time for people competing in competitions, and then the competition approaches, and then you're like, "Oh, Peter, I'm not going to compete. I want to cancel my shoot." And they don't even make it to the stage.
Mm.
For me, everyone who makes it to the stage is a winner, including the woman we talked about before who was, a mess crying on the floor of the studio. She actually made it to the stage, and what she doesn't realize is there's so many other people who didn't. She actually got there and did her thing, which I think is amazing. I've never competed myself. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. It's just like, I hear all the stories. It sounds hard. It's a bit of a grind and it's a bit of a drain, possibly. But big ups to all those people who hit the stage and make it. It's just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. So you've, over the, hate to harp onto it, the 30 years so you've been doing photography, and you mentioned it in a couple of the conversations we had last week, you've watched bodybuilding, fitness and photography and people in general evolve. One of the things you mentioned about you'd said was some women thought they were lean, and then in reality they were just ribs and bones. Is that something you've seen changing, in particularly as more females come into the competitive side of the sport, or how has that sort of come about with your perception of the competitive world?
Well, finally was females I was talking about. That's mostly what I shoot. It's a strange thing because, so I went through this phase where I was seeing lots of younger women, I suppose bikini class, coming through, and they thought they were lean, but they were just skinny. There's like ribs sticking out and shoulders bony, like kind of. And my lighting exaggerates stuff like that. My lighting exaggerates and separates muscle tone, and so it kind of emphasized it even more, which isn't really good. What's happened of recent, since COVID, there's been less people competing, there's been less competitions, and so I haven't seen that since then. Now, I don't know if it's because people are more aware of nutrition now, or extreme nutrition and extreme dieting, or whether I'm just not seeing it. I don't really know. Maybe coaches have changed their approach.
I would say the emphasis on, and Rachel would be able to test it as well, the emphasis on lean has changed, particularly which is the reason that you're seeing the growth of a lot more of the, say, natural federations. Is there, if you to take, say, the IFBB side, the NPC side, the girls are getting bigger and bigger. So strong has become the strong and powerful has become more than being tiny and shredded. So
Yeah,
it
definitely.
doesn't necessarily mean healthier, because as Rachel and I know,
Mm.
generally it's not healthier to get to that level of extreme muscularity and still maintain the femininity. So yeah, you're not seeing so much of that over dieting, the heroin chic era where, everybody looked like crack.
Mm.
Also, I think when you get
Mm.
that lean, if you are skinny, it like at the moment with the size requirements, you just look too small, and it's almost better to show up a bit softer to give the illusion of a little bit more size. So I think that also might have been part of the change as well, because previously there was less, I guess, size requirement, and so showing up leaner was often better. But now showing up at that leanness when you're that small, you look tiny
Yeah.
up on stage.
But I think there's, and you'd alluded to as well, Peter, that like with the gyms, like they're frequently building their lighting for social media photography. They're building it to show highlights. The mirrors aren't there just to be mirrors anymore, are they? They're many little photo shoots unto themselves.
Yeah.
Has social media blurred the line, say from your type of photography, which is more stylized and more, I don't know, it's more of an event than, as you said, these days everybody's got a, you had one or two cameras in your family, and everybody's got one these days, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
we know that stage lean isn't healthy, but social media is sort of blurring that line of what they think stage lean is. Are you sort of finding that social media side of what the expectation is that crossing across into the more the stylized studio stuff that you do?
Huh. I'm just going to reevaluate the question. Are you talking about the lighting in the gym photography, phone photography compared to actual studio photos, or are you talking
Well, I guess
about?
it's because there is so much of that social media based content creation within the self content creation. Like you don't see that frequently in the last, I would say, since COVID. Like pre-COVID, we used to see photographers in the gyms all the time, setting up strobes, doing
Yep.
gym photography. Now it's almost that what do you call it, shoot and run type effect, where the lighting is
Yep.
done certain ways in gyms now. I mean, most gyms don't have natural lighting anymore. They just have,
Yep.
it's more controllable. So you're seeing that.
Yep.
What are people coming to you now more saying that they want that style of photography, or are they sort of still wanting the more stylized stuff?
So I don't know if I can answer your question, but this is what I can tell you. People are getting photos in the gym that are perfectly acceptable and usable and sometimes great. It's never going to be what I can get because I've got different angles. I can change the lighting up. I can change the background up. But people now know how to find the light, how to use it and work it, and they know about, posing. It's very different from where I came from. That learning curve is very short now. You can just jump on YouTube. In fact, talking about COVID, we came out of COVID, and it seemed everybody came out of COVID either as a personal trainer or a photographer. And for some people, it was both at the same time. And so everyone's aware of what's going on around them with the light, the posing. And I haven't done a gym shoot for ages, but that's by choice. But you're possibly right. There's no need for a photographer to take his high-end camera into a gym and get photos now because they know how to get it themselves or have a friend do it for them. The technology's there, and even if it's a shit photo, they know how to fix it and put it right, if that makes sense.
Well, they can also take 4,000 photos and find the one that they're looking for, as opposed to,
Exactly. And I've actually had a client come to me and say, "Hey, I did a photo shoot with this other photographer, but my boyfriend got better photos on his phone, so can we repeat that and do that with you?" And it's like, well, I don't know if I can. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen the photos. You better tell me more about what's going on here. It's
mm,
because there is a lot more pressure now to actually beat what they are already getting, if that makes sense. I know I can beat it. I can technically I can beat it, but visually, people don't see technical stuff. They just see what they want to see. They don't see the faults that I can see. But yeah,
I
it's
think
been a big change.
I think you're seeing more of, it's that instant gratification of the content of like, take the
Exactly.
picture, thought it was cute, might change my mind later, delete it type stuff, as
Yep.
opposed
Exactly.
to like, we
And
don't have magazines anymore. We don't have, like,
Yep.
you don't see those traditional photo shoots where, outside of, say, if you're doing a product shoot for, like, say, bikinis or something like that. But there is everybody's recording their workouts, everybody's taking selfies in the gym, and it's not. It used to be they were the the athletes or the genetic freaks. They were the ones that were in shape and they were doing it. Nowadays, it doesn't matter. You get the angle right, you can have a great set of glutes and you're good to go. So social media. Us
well, also
fossils.
because photography is it's very unregulated. And it's even worse than personal training probably because there's not really many ways to be qualified as a photographer. But so a lot of people who become photographers have just picked up a camera. So it probably is a bit of a struggle with for photographers who are very experienced and actually do know a lot of the technical stuff that for people who are just picking up a camera and saying, "Hey, I'm a photographer now."
Yeah, the creation of the social media content was, I don't know. You almost get the feeling now that they're more documenting what's going on as opposed to living it.
Yeah, it is more about content creation now than actually just getting a still photo or a physical photo. I found that even in commercial photography. I used to shoot for some big brands, and it got to the point where I and my wife, who was my assistant, we used to assist each other. We were just there to create the scene, and they were getting all the stuff they wanted on their phones behind our backs. They didn't actually really need our photos in the end. We were just a photographer doing the photos, and they would stop mid-shoot and they'd just be on their phones, posting stuff and hashtagging this and hashtagging that and comparing what each other got. It's like, come on guys, we've got a photo shoot to do here. Let's get on with it and do it. And, and I'm talking professional athletes, full on national teams. Yeah, with backed by agencies and managers and crazy. But that's how it is now.
Yeah, because at this point, most people will they'll look at the social media rather than, I guess, the website. The website's there as just, here, buy it. But usually the social media is where people are looking for, okay, well, what does this product look like? What does it do? And they're actually looking for the information on the social media rather than the website. So it's...
And they make it look like fun as well and involving lots of different people, fun and social. It's look at our product. This is what you can do.
Almost like the stuff has become more important than the actual image, really, isn't it?
Yeah, correct.
One of the things you mentioned, the change since COVID, like you said, there's less athletes competing, there's less shows, less everything. One of the things that you mentioned was there were more athletes. You mentioned wellness in particular. There was more illnesses, more health issues. So when you started, PED use wasn't openly discussed. Has the openness that's become around that now, has that openness of PEDs in not just physique competitors, but physique models. So has that surprised you that they've become more open? Everybody's like, I'm taking this, I'm doing that, I'm doing, that these days it's just commonplace. It's out there. Has the openness around use of PEDs now, has that sort of surprised you that?
Oh, that is, what is that?
The unhealthy side of the sport. You mentioned that, wellness competitors collapsing and all that sort of carry on.
Yeah. So people post stuff on their accounts, like social media, and they post the good stuff, or they always used to. Pre-COVID, it was all the good stuff. Look at me, yeah, rah, rah, rah. Look at my medals. Look at me working out at the gym. Look at me with my supplements. But I'm shooting people who are real people with real stories, and I've had clients who I know they've ended up in hospital, severely dehydrated, or with other nutrition problems, or other health problems. Obviously, I shoot mostly women, so I hear about a lot of women's health issues. So I don't want to make it all about that, but I hear how their life has been affected by, I suppose it's just extreme dieting, dehydration, nutrition, and that's not the stuff they've been posting. I do see sometimes now they are posting their stories, but unfortunately I feel it's like a way of just trying to also get attention sometimes. I know not always, but over the last few years I've noticed people will be hardcore promoting something or a style or a way of doing things, but 2 years later they've abandoned that and have adopted a new approach of doing the same thing because it's trendy now to do this way rather as opposed to that way. I suppose you just call it people jumping on the bandwagon, and it's the same with health and fitness and wellness. Wellness is a big word now; it's a big thing. If you want to go to a wellness retreat this weekend, you can go to one. You can find one now and book in and do it. Years ago, that wasn't a thing. Who ever heard of a wellness retreat? It's So I've heard all the stories, and some of them will be buried forever, but they are starting to come to light as well as people run out of material to post on social media, basically. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but
Yeah, no, that's one of the things that I mentioned to Peter. We're going to do a little bit of a rapid fire. This is the area where Rachel and I get to put you on the spot. You know, the spotlights are on you.
rapid fire.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yes.
the rule
Okay.
is you're not allowed more than 30 seconds to come up with an answer. There's no take two,
Good.
and it has
So
to be
Okay.
quick fire, so not too much time thinking about it, and just short answers, just quick. What first thing that pops into your brain, basically.
All right. So starting off, has social media done more good than harm to the world of photography?
I don't think it's done good or harm. It's just changed it. Whether it's for the good or the better depends who you are and what you're doing. I have no gripes against. My job is harder as a professional photographer shooting full time. I'm not complaining or whinging about it. You just got to evolve and roll with it and reinvent yourself, and that's what I do.
Nice.
Excellent. There you go.
Words. Stage lean has become romanticized. Do you agree with this?
Yes, yes. I feel like everybody's trying to get leaner to look good, but most people look good anyway. Does that make sense? I don't know if that's what you want to hear or
Yeah,
not.
well, I mean, I'm a weirdo, and I actually don't like what I look like stage lean. I'm not the fan of the look. I prefer being a little bit fuller in the offset. I mean, my favorite look is usually like that 6 to 8 week out mark where you're like starting to show some definition.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, and you might be one of these people. A lot of people cannot gel with their photos 2 years after they've been taken because it's not a look they connect with anymore or want to be associated with. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
All right. People compare themselves more today than they did even 10 years ago.
Absolutely, way too much. Especially women, I don't know about guys, but women definitely, they're always comparing. Even in my studio, I have a slideshow playing constantly of my clients' previous photos, and they're like, oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I looked like that. Oh, such a shame. And I'm like, you can, let's do it. We'll do it now. And I proved to them that they can do it and they can look like that. They just didn't know they could. So the answer is yes, and I've been trying to educate people, but it seems like a hopeless task. I just, can't do it.
All right. Phone cameras have made professional photography less important. Yes or no?
Not less important because, okay, the Commonwealth Games are coming up this year. We had the Olympic Games not long back. We've got the Football World Cup on at the moment. The photographers aren't on the sidelines taking photos with their phones, and there's a reason for that. And we all know what the reason is. So it hasn't made it less important. It's just once again changed the landscape. Maybe you don't need the high-end cameras you used to have for some things you used to have them for, but high-end photography, professional photography is not done with yet at all.
Oh, can I put a side question on that? Do you think that now that phone cameras are better, do you think that's pushed professional cameras to also level up even further?
Okay. I've been shooting with a high-end camera for many, many years, and I upgrade every few years. I've had tendon problems in my elbows for the last 2 years or more. I've just downgraded from the high-end professional camera that weighed over 1.5 kgs to something more entry level, and no one knows. Except now.
Now the truth is out.
So potentially all the lower down kind of stuff has been pushed up. So entry level
What's
is
actually happening now? Well, camera manufacturers now are producing cameras that are more geared towards lower entry level because the high-end cameras, they're too good. They do too much. And as a result, they're too heavy. You can hardly hold the damn thing. Hours after hours, it's just, ridiculous. So I've downgraded. Lots of other people have downgraded. And camera manufacturers are now making cameras that are more suitable to the consumer than the professional.
Sorry, that was just that popped into my head.
Yeah, no, good valid comment.
Does confidence photograph better than abs?
Yes, yeah.
I've
probably see people who've got no abs. Yeah. Well, a lot of people come in. A lot of people come in just wanting an ab shot, and sometimes they can't get them to turn on. They're just not there. But if you get someone who doesn't have abs, and then you just get like a slight glimmer, just an ab line, and they see it, they're like, "Oh my god, I got abs!" It's like, okay, yeah, sweet, you have. Look at that.
There you go. Quick.
So yeah. It's all attitude, and it's all
Yeah, you can definitely you'd be able to see it, and it would also come across just with the way they're posing and just acting in front of the camera, and it would just help the overall shot, just being confident.
Yeah, confident animation is just gold. People who can just move with confidence and smile and open their eyes, too good. You can't beat it.
Not blinking all the time.
Favorite athlete you've ever photographed?
Or favorite, as opposed to most famous, or
yeah.
favourite.
We won't tell them.
I won't hold it against you if it's not me.
Most famous, possibly, well, no, without a doubt, Richie McCaw.
Good.
Nicest, absolute nicest, genuine, friendly, Dan Carter.
That's pretty cool.
There you
He's
go.
a really nice guy.
Yeah, he's also good looking too, which is
I'm not saying Richie McCaw isn't.
Well, isn't good
But
looking or isn't a nice guy?
Dan talks more than Richie. Dan's just really, hey, how's it going? Hope you're having a good day.
All right. So you've been, just to wrap, Peter, spent over 30 years watching people through a camera lens. You've seen trends come and go, social media explode, bodybuilding evolve, develop, shrink, grow again, and people's relationships with themselves change. But one of the things that you mentioned when we were talking last week is you said fitness had lost its way, or the sport of bodybuilding has lost its way. If that's true, how do we find it again? I like to end on the tough ones.
Lost its way? Oh, maybe I kind of, was that to do anything with COVID or the competition seasons at the moment?
Post-COVID. I think it was more like the way
so,
it changed.
yeah, okay. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely changed in a big way. Post-COVID, I was booked out 12 months or more in advance. Nationals weekends were booked out before the calendar was out. People just said, book me in for Nationals, NZIVB next year. When the calendar comes out, put my name down. Since COVID, since the lockdown or lockdowns, if you were in Auckland, there's less competitions, less competitors, less spectators. Some competitions got moved out of Auckland and never came back. There is no NZIVB Pro Show in March now. They used to kick the year off for me every year. Kick it off in March and go hard out right through to October. Now, I don't know how many competitions have been cancelled this year. There was one just a couple of weeks ago. I think there's another one just recently. Other competitions have combined. They'll have two competitions at the same venue on the same day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. And for me as a photographer, I can't photograph all those people at that same time. It used to be staggered throughout the year. Now it's just all come the end of October and everything rounding up for the year. It's just this huge influx of inquiries and I just can't fit them all in. I can't deal with it.
Same issue.
Yeah, it's not staggered. It's not flowing.
And you only have so much time in those periods because all the competitions, they're all within a week of each other and there's just not enough time for everyone unless they miss out if they don't book in early.
Well, even that, there was, I don't know if it's a continual thing or whether it's just a one-off, but there were two federations that had their national competition on the same day. And it's like that just compounded things even more. It's like,
Well, that's
I don't
when
get it.
federations become more focused on themselves than they do on the athletes. And as it being like, we've talked about on the podcast before, is the sense of the federation having proprietary over the athlete. And it's, everybody else has to change around them. And there are times when one federation will wait till the other one puts their calendar out. And then rather than saying, okay, well, we won't do it on the same day, they go, nope, we're going to put it on the same day. And then we're going to make the athlete has to make a choice of which show they're going to do. So, yeah, it is more about protecting your kingdom than it is about growing the sport. And they won't admit to that.
Yeah, and the sport is very important. If you want to protect it, because it's only going to get hard. I was speaking with a bodybuilding athlete just a few weeks ago, and she's given up, and she's doing high rocks now. And I've spoken to an athlete from Ireland, and she said, like, fitness over there is just way different to here. They've got so much more going on, and it will eventually come here as well. Just different events, different competition, not bodybuilding, other competitions that have a finish line. Once you've finished the finish line, cross the finish line, you're done. That's it, and you finished it. Whereas bodybuilding's a bit like, did I do that all right or not? There is no finish line. It's just like it's just points out of 10 kind of thing.
I think the physique sport side, from a social media, the social perspective of the physique is now not just on stage. There are people out there who have amazing physiques who will never step on stage. They will either maybe beat or something along those lines. It's no longer all exclusively about being on stage. And I think that's where the sport of bodybuilding sort of has to realize what people are more looking for now so that they go more into those lines. So we'll just have to see how it goes. So, Rachel?
I photographed someone last. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, they go. Sorry. No, sorry.
I photographed one. I'm sure she was your client. I don't want to mention any names, but she came to me last year for a photo shoot, and her physique was really, really nice, really phenomenal. And she is now prepping for her first bodybuilding competition.
She is.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of athletes, a lot of people, I don't want to use the term normal people, but non-bodybuilding athletes rocking up with great physiques and well-balanced physiques as well.
Mm.
And talking, so you can have a really nice physique. Track runners, track athletes are a very good example. They have
Yeah.
the nicest physiques around. They'll never make it to the bodybuilding stage, but so far as a really healthy, attractive physique goes, and you can't beat a track athlete.
Well, one of my friends, she's a track athlete, and then she did a bodybuilding show and just almost accidentally got 2 pro cards off the bat, first show.
All right.
Which makes all the bodybuilders
Pretty
go,
good.
yeah, damn it.
Yeah, so she came really close to I think she was second, she came second, so missed
Yeah.
out one placing at IFBB Wellness Pro Card, and then just missed out on getting, she won overalls at ICN Nationals as well, and just missed out on her pro card at ICN. So,
Yeah,
it was
okay.
and that was her
Awesome.
first ever time doing a show. It was crazy. So yeah, track athletes,
Pretty
100%.
good. No, that's awesome. Yeah. Oh, big ups to her. Well done.
So I guess in closing, Peter, obviously thank you for your time today and your insight, not into just the photography, but also how
Thank
people
you.
work in what the experience can be to them. But if one piece of advice you could give to anybody who's considering a photo shoot, what would that be? What would you be saying to them?
Just do it. Don't hold back. Don't wait for the right moment because there might never be a right moment. The softer looks are great. Like we just said about the triathletes and that, there is no special magic formula or just do it. Everyone's got a reason. Just find a reason and do it. Yeah. Don't hold back. A lot of people say, a lot of people say they're not confident enough to do a photo shoot, and I just say to them, well, it's not about confidence, it's about braveness. You just got to be brave enough to do the photo shoot. Once you've done the shoot, the confidence comes. It's as easy as that. So just be brave. Don't worry about confidence that will follow.
Nice.
Oh, that's a good one. That's really good because mostly it's just people being nervous like that, and they need to just take that step and just go for it because if they do a photo shoot, you're not judging them, like you don't care what they look like as long as you're just taking the photos.
Oh, not at all.
So they wouldn't because your photos are amazing, but let's say they didn't like them, they don't have to post them. Who's going to see it?
Exactly.
So that's literally the worst case scenario.
And even if you don't like your photos, that probably has happened actually, but in time to come, people look back at them and they're like, well, I'm so glad I did that shoot because I'm never ever going to be able to do that again. Yeah.
100%.
You can never repeat that one day. All right, so in closing, how do people find you and go about inquiring about doing photo shoots or working with you in the future? What's the easiest way?
Well, both my website and Instagram are both unloved. I don't post a lot. The main reason is I always get inquiries when I post stuff, and I've always had enough work. Instagram is probably my best one. That's Peter_AT_photoshoot. So Peter at photoshoot. And website is just fitnessandphysique.co.nz. Apologies, It's outdated. It's pretty historic, but yeah. It's there.
It serves its purpose of being out of reach here, so we'll make sure that we put we'll tag that in here so that people can find you. But anything in closing there, Rach?
No, nothing from me, but yeah, just thank you for coming on, Peter, because you're obviously a big name within the community, and pretty much anyone who comes into bodybuilding is like, oh, I should do a photo shoot. You're definitely one of the first names that pops up. Everyone's like,
oh, it's nice to hear. Thank you.
Peter. We had this conversation in the group chat recently, and it wasn't even me; it was someone else. Said Peter. So yeah, your name is definitely one of the first ones always that pops up. So highly recommend doing photo shoot with Peter, and also because he knows bodybuilders as well, which is great.
Yep.
So thank you for coming on.
Yeah, don't be shy. Get out there and do it. Book it today so that you don't have an excuse for not doing it. Well, thank you very much for your time, Peter. It's been really insightful, and hopefully people watching and listening today understand what's involved and a little bit whether it's more than just the image. But we do hope that those of you listening have enjoyed today. And of course, if you have enjoyed today, or even if you haven't, as Rachel said last week, make sure you like and subscribe on Spotify and YouTube, because it does actually help new people find these, not only the complete claptrap that Rachel and I come up with, but these wonderful guests like Peter that we have on periodically throughout the show. So again, Peter, thank you very much for your time. It's been lovely having up with you. And again, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you look Peter up, and we'll see you all next week.
Enjoy.